embarrassment for Sir Keir Starmer, a major one, as a cabinet member's constituency has sensationally voted for a national inquiry into the grooming gang scandal. The Labour-led Wigan Council broke with the government's position following Stockton Council also earlier on today. Later on, I'll be joined by the councillor Maureen O'Byrne, who put forward the motion, and I cannot look forward to that. Not all heroes wear capes, and some of them are called Maureen. But for now, here's GB News' reporter Charlie Peters, who broke this story. Charlie, another magnificent victory for this cause of just making sure we have sunlight as the best form of bleach. Council by council, we are getting somewhere. This is a significant embarrassment for the Labour Party because, of course, not only have they defied the Prime Minister, Sir Keir Starmer, but also a cabinet minister. Lisa Nandy is the local MP. Nevertheless, a fantastic piece of news. Tell us more.
Well, Martinez, as you've said, this is a Labour-run council breaking with the government position. And you've also mentioned Lisa Nandy there, the MP for Wigan. This is a Greater Manchester Authority area. So the additional significance there is that Andy Burnham, the Mayor of Manchester, came out for a limited inquiry after the government voted down that Conservative amendment that would have put forward a national inquiry into the grooming gang scandal when that happened earlier this month in Parliament on the 8th of January. So what we've seen today, actually, is the second attempt by independent councillor Maureen O'Byrne to bring this motion into Wigan Council's chambers. What happened on Wednesday is that this motion was the fifth of several that were up for debate at the full council meeting in the evening, but we're told by the council that it reached its time limit, it couldn't be heard. But Maureen O'Byrne, it seems, stood up and started reading her speech for this motion regardless, with many councillors leaving the chamber at the time. I'm told that at least one Labour councillor did sit behind and listen to Maureen as she delivered that motion, wanting it to be debated on. And before the vote today, all the Labour councillors again voted against having that motion being debated. It just went straight to a vote, which was upheld unanimously by all councillors. 64 Labour, 10 Independent, 1 Tory. All of those present within those numbers voting unanimously in favour of it. I'm also told that a couple of Labour councillors abstained from the vote against having this motion debated. I'm told by Maureen O'Byrne, that independent councillor, that she's tried to raise the issue of grooming gangs regularly in the town and in the town's chamber, but she's always felt that she's been drawn away from attempts to do so. But let's look at the wider significance here, Martin. As you've referred, there have already been those votes in Stockton in favour of a grooming gangs investigation. That was voted down in favour 29 to 21. It's a Labour-run authority, but they are actually the minority party there. So actually it's the independents and the Conservatives putting that one forward and ensuring that one was passed. And then in Bradford on Tuesday evening, we saw a vote rejected by that council. But that's a bit different because the Bradford vote was specifically a local inquiry into issues in the Bradford district, which is a campaign that's been brought forward by the local Tory MP Robbie Moore for Keighley and Ilkley for many years. He's been campaigning for that, but rejected in that chamber. But yet there have now been several votes on this issue in council chambers, and some problems for the government here, Martin, as you're seeing Labour-run authorities voting in favour of statutory national investigations, very much against the government's position.
And Charlie Peters, it's a significant victory, although, as you said, Labour councillors disgracefully walked out when Maureen was trying to speak. She also tried to issue a statement in this debate there. She wasn't allowed to do that. I've got that statement here. It is, of course, some of the most harrowing evidence, Charlie Peters, as you know, from the Oxford rape gang trial. The extracts, actually, that woke the entire world up to this, including Elon Musk, with you pushing this forward. We've got Maureen O'Byrne on the show later on. I'm very, very excited to speak with her. And Charlie Peters, you know, it feels like something is happening. It feels like the tide has turned. It feels like perhaps, hopefully, fingers crossed, everything crossed, now the dam is finally beginning to break.
Well, Martin, there has been a change in tone from several people within the government. We heard from the Prime Minister's spokesperson right after that vote was rejected in Parliament, when the spokesperson said that the Prime Minister was open to the issue. We've also heard in that announcement made a couple of weeks ago, when the government was pushing for 5 more local inquiries, that they would be led on what the survivors demanded. So there was definitely an easing of their original position that we revealed on the 1st of January, which showed that they'd rejected a call for a government-led inquiry into Oldham specifically. Some thought that we could be tiptoeing towards a national inquiry, and that actually what was happening here was Labour was building its own position, so they weren't to be seen to be reacting to pressure from Elon Musk and others. But other people close to the situation in Number 10 have told me that that's not the case, that Labour is not seeking to change its position. The government won't stray from its current stance in favour of local inquiries. But what we're seeing now, Martin, is that so many of those local areas are voting for national inquiries. They're voting for statutory inquiries because they know, as the government must surely know also, that only when you can compel witnesses and force people to give evidence and be questioned and be grilled can you get justice for survivors. It's not enough just to go after perpetrators, they say. There are also guilty men and women right across the country who covered up these crimes who also need to face prosecution.
OK, well, Charlie, let's just have a little look at that clip of Maureen O'Byrne attempting to speak when the Labour councillors, I think, disgracefully walked out. Let's have a look at that now.
Yeah, pretty significant incident that, Martin. They say, the Wigan Council have said that it reached a guillotine, which means that there was outstanding business remaining on the agenda. That's their term, they say. So 3 hours the council meeting had been taken on, and that came to an end. We're told that the meeting was disrupted and subsequently adjourned. But Maureen O'Byrne, the Speaker who was delivering that motion, has told me that that's very much not how she sees it, and that there was plenty of time to debate her motion again today, but it wasn't even read out. It was just voted. She says that she has every respect for the leader of the opposition group, a councillor called James Watson, who pushed forward demands for this vote as well. But the council are describing Maureen O'Byrne's speech there as an outburst. She told me that she's been objected to speaking on the grooming gangs before, and she said, yet again, we still are not allowed to speak about them today.
Well, I'll tell you what, an absolute victory for Maureen. I'm very, very excited to speak to her later in the show. They tried to silence her. They couldn't. She just wouldn't give up. Just like yourself, Charlie Peters, it feels to me, after yesterday, we wanted a good news story. I think this is magnificent. Charlie Peters, speak to you again in the next hour. Wonderful. And we've got a reply here from the leader of Wigan Council, and that's the councillor David Molyneux, and he told GB News this. The motion was carried unanimously, and I'm pleased to support our colleagues at Oldham Council. Our intention was always to support this motion from the outset. I also welcome that the council's leader of the opposition has written to the mayor to apologise for his colleague's outburst that led to the adjournment. That's concluded that.